Hi there, this is Adam Jones from the Wolf Rock Boat Company. Hope you guys are well. I am certainly doing well. I've just been out on this brig, Eagle 6.7, for a quick blast around the estuary and just outside of Salcombe Harbour, and what a piece of kit this boat is. It's so fantastic to have brig back. It's awesome to see these new boats finally coming back in from Ukraine and the guys building the boats even whilst that conflict is still going on. It truly is amazing to see, and we're really proud to be a supporter and an advocate for Brig. They are an amazing company and they make fantastic boats. So Brig are back. We're going to be at Southampton Boat Show this year with a full collection of Brig boats, all the way from the smallest right the way up to the Eagle 8, as well as the UMS boats, Smart Wave, Calibri, and of course the super exciting Iron boats all the way from Sweden. Now, new boats are fantastic, but lots of people are out there looking for a used boat. And here at the Wolf Rock Boat Company, we are a new and used boat company. We sell both brand new and brokered boats. And one of the questions that we get asked a lot is, what do I need to look for when I'm buying a used boat? Now, the person who has the most experience that I know of with buying used boats is Mr. Paul McCarthy, the owner and founder of the Wolf Rock Boat Company. So I thought I'd take 5 minutes just to pick his brains and go through his top tips for buying a used boat. So listen to this, and hopefully you'll be one step closer to your new used boat.
Hi, Paul McCarthy from the Wolf Rock Boat Company. Just want to give you my tips really on buying used ribs or trailable sports boats. And my first tip for that is actually find out how much a new one is. You've got to look at specs, obviously age, sizes of engines, how they're rigged. So do your homework on new. So at least you've got a benchmark then of actually what a boat is going to cost you new. My second tip then after that is, once you go and find your used boat, is make sure that the paperwork is correct. So you know, these things aren't on a register like a car. So really you want to see the original VAT invoice, for example, the invoices for it changing hands, maybe the last service invoice on the trailer or on the outboard. That's a really important feature, to check all of that and make sure you've got the paperwork. All of our boats from the Wolf Rock come in a nice contained shoebox size box with all the handbooks, all the information about the boat, and that should be passed on with each owner, and that's really your authenticity that the boat is genuine. Without that, certainly we wouldn't want to take a boat back in part exchange here without seeing some sort of paperwork. So next, actually, I would say, a bit like a classic car, buy the best you can afford. The cheapest is not necessarily the best value for money. There's no glasses guide with these boats. They very much do get a bit fixed on price points. So if you look at a boat for $8,995, quite honestly, one for $12,995 is probably much better value. A boat for $22,000 is probably much better value than one for $18,995. And if you buy the one for $22,000, and you get a nice boat, the chances are after a couple of years it will still be worth $19,995 after that couple of years. And if you don't have any work to do on it, it's been a better buy than one for $18,995 that you've had to put bearings on the trailer or a new hitch or a steering system. So yeah, always buy the best that you can afford. I think that once you've actually found your boat, as just said, trailer the first thing. Make sure your trailer is road legal, bearings, the hitch, the brakes. That's all quite expensive these days to replace those things. And then the obvious stuff for me on the boat, like a rib, what are the tubes made out of? All brigs in the last probably 7 or 8 years into the UK will have Hypalon tubes. There's no PVC tubes been brought into this country in that time. A Hypalon boat will last 4 or 5 times longer than a PVC boat, in my opinion. Is much easier to repair. For us, one of our reasons, we had customers that had damaged their tubes, say in Ireland, and we couldn't get tubers there to actually fix PVC boats. We can fix PVC boats, but in fact most tubers don't want to touch PVC boats. So when you do find yourself that it's either been damaged or you've got a fault on your tube, you can't get it fixed. So Hypalon, without doubt, is the safest, easiest option and a better quality tube as well for these boats. Most of our boats now will also have expansion valves, so when we do get those glorious hot days, and I hope they're coming soon, and the pressure obviously builds inside the tube, the expansion valve is a nice thing to have on the tubes of a boat. Steering systems on the boat, if it's a cable steering, chances are after a few years, if it's not been maintained properly, that steering cable will need to be replaced. That's why on most of our boats over 80 horsepower, they're all fitted with hydraulic steering here, because a steering cable is 150 quid. It could cost you 400 quid in labour to get it changed. And again, trying to find someone this time of the year to change that cable, it's really difficult. What else? Wiring. So yeah, making sure the boat's been rigged really well. Again, we're very conscious here about how we rig our boats, all the wiring underneath the console, all done very neatly. And when they're a few years old, that's when you benefit from it. If you buy a boat in the first year and it's been rigged by somebody that's not done a professional job, chances are it won't matter. But 5 years down the line, trust me, it will matter. Fuel, make sure the fuel is good. Check the water separators, check the fuel filters. I would say 75% of the problems that are caused by boats in this country on outboard boats this size that we sell is contaminated fuel. Fuel doesn't last that long these days anyway. Within a year, possibly the fuel is going to go bad. So keep an eye on that fuel and keep an eye on those water separators, because that's a really key point. And for us, once you've bought the boat, always bring it back in. I'd have it winterized and serviced at the end of the season. That way we've put some additive in your fuel, we put some additive through your fuel injectors. Because if you buy a brand new boat and it's got contaminated fuel when you put it away in October because you've not checked it, and you bring it out in the spring and the engine won't work, guess what? They won't cover it under warranty. You know, that's contaminated fuel, that is user error. So that's another hot tip I'd say when you're buying a new or even a used boat. And then obviously, you know, condition is everything. Check for patches on tubes, check for any damage on the bottom of the hulls. You know, it's not very often, but sometimes boats do get blown off their moorings and might get damaged and be repaired. So have a bit of a check. But yeah, just generally, just follow those tips, and you really shouldn't have too much drama when looking for a used boat.